about the weapon.
I want to.
Tell you what it was.
Watch.
How it worked.
Watch.
Why they needed it. Some of us have talked a little bit about that already, but some other things we can add into that. And how they used it here,
I saw the
and how much of a difference that made to our history. So I have a couple rounds.
No.
One here. Now, that's the bad news, the loud news. The good news is I'm not actually firing bullets, so you don't have to dodge ricochets off this wall. Even more likely, our neighbors, the glass house recreation at the Park Service site, just 30 yards that way, the entrance to the original site.
That was the big boom.
They didn't have to dodge bullets that punched through that wall. These were powerful weapons. Folks, you can come on up closer and join us as well. So here we go, folks. Just firing blanks, as we say. It is going to be loud, so here we go, folks. Now might be one when you want to come here. Present your piece. Give fire. Next one will be a bit loud. That's the oil burning off in this. And welcome to our demonstration. Subs have been chatting for a little bit here. My name's Terry Bond. You can think of me as a reconstructed musketeer at this reconstruction of James Fort. I'd like to pass around the size bullet that makes this a musket. So we'll start with these folks who haven't seen this yet. There we go. Feel the weight of that, pass that to the next person so they can check it out. Now imagine that 1/12 of a pound of lead hurtling down range very quickly and taking down the enemy you aimed at 100 yards out. Some folks make the mistake of talking about Englishmen hunting deer with their muskets. You can, but it's like hunting deer with an AK-47 in the sense that neither one was made for hunting. Like the AK-47, this was made for war. And that's a handy thing because these folks, well, they can bring livestock. They can bring hogs. They can bring animals that they can raise so they don't have to depend on hunting. Maybe occasionally help for supplementing food, but mostly they're bringing hogs and goats and cattle. But they do have enemies. Some of us have already talked about one of those enemies. Who was that we talked about? Powhatan Indians. The other enemy that they were very worried about, very concerned about right from the start, were the Spanish. The Spanish government considered this to be, be a breaking of a treaty signed between England and Spain in 1604, just a couple years earlier. So the Spanish government, by 1608, at the latest, was telling the English government, if you don't pull these people back out of here, we will wipe them out. So if you ever wondered why the English were so concerned about the Spanish, well, when a foreign government's telling you, hey, you've broken our treaty, we're going to kill you, you sort of take that seriously. And that was what was happening. For whatever reason, the Spanish were not able to succeed in getting troops on the ground. They got ships over here, but they never landed their troops. So the day-to-day fight does become amongst with the Powhatan Indians, especially by 1610. And that creates some interesting special situations. In Europe, this heavy musket with that heavy ball was in part designed to punch through European armor. So the armor is becoming less usable, less important back in England, back in Spain, back in Flanders, and all those other European battlefields. The musket is going to be important for that reason, to bring men down that long range. Here, the Powhatan Indians don't have armor. They don't have these muskets. What are they shooting? Those and arrows. And what stops those arrows? The armor. So here, unlike in Europe, we're going to train every man to be a soldier, and every man's going to be armored. I've just worn a portion of my armor today, the Scourget. There'd be a breastplate on there for that. That's going to help. It's like our troops in Afghanistan wearing about 40 pounds of armor. These folks in 1610, maybe about 20 pounds. But it's going to stop the weapons they're facing here in the colony and give them a little bit of advantage. And they need all the advantages they can get because the Powhatans are experts in the woods. They've been learning to fight with bows, arrows, and war clubs since they were this young man's age. They're experts in moving through the woods quietly. The English, not so much. And, of course, they're deadly accurate. Oh, most importantly, there are thousands of them and a few hundred of us. So when it becomes a total warfare situation by 1610, These folks have to find the best ways to take advantage of their technology and tactics. What they'll do is adapt something they already